trade, we consider only trading on goods. So countries can export or can import goods like cars or cotton or other goods. But when we say invisible, and invisible trade, we consider only services. Services like education, transportation, or health services. All these fall under this category, invisible trade. So in foreign trade, goods and services are traded. But when we say visible here, we mean goods. And when we say invisible, here we base on services. So we have various services which are traded in foreign trade. Our revision will focus more on invisible trade. Many people consider trade or international trade to be more on goods. But my dear students, this revision focuses on understanding how services are traded in foreign trade or international trade. So different services like now in education here, we have Tanzanians who are studying abroad. So they are buying that service, which is education, from those countries. But we have foreigners who are studying in our country. And therefore, they are buying this service from our country. When Tanzanians are studying abroad, they are buying from those countries. And therefore, they are importing such a service. But when those people from abroad come to study in our colleges or universities, we as a country, we are exporting such a service, or we are selling such a service. Now, tourism. Under this, when tourists are coming in our country, we are selling this service to them. But when Tanzanians are going abroad to tour in different countries, in that scenario, we are buying such a service. So that is importation. But when they come in our country, different tourists, we are selling to them this service and we are exporting such a service. Now come to another service, which is health. Health services. We have different doctors who are Tanzanians who are working in different countries. So in that scenario, we are selling this service as a country to those countries, and therefore we are exporting such a service. But in our hospitals, we have different doctors who are working in our hospitals from different countries, and we are buying such a service, and therefore we are importing such a service. Another service which is very, very important in foreign trade is sports and games. Under this one, we have different people who are involving in sports and games. For example, Mbwana Samata is a footballer playing in Aston Villa team. So Tanzania as a country will regard that as exportation, because they are playing football but is paid. But we have some footballers who are playing here in our country. For example, those footballers who are playing in Simba and Yanga teams. Now these people are paid, and we regard these as importation of a service. But take an example in music. We have different musicians who sometimes go in different countries. For example, Diamond went in America, and we regard that as exportation. But sometimes musicians are coming in our country, and we regard these as importation. So my dear students, we have a lot of services which have been traded in foreign or in international trade. So this concept is very, very important, and for sure is contributing much. Services contribute much in international trade or in foreign trade. So after this, let's have a look on.
You are watching Darasa Online.
Balance of trade. Under this concept, balance of trade, this is a statement of countries' exports versus countries' imports. So it's a statement which shows countries' So here you compare between countries' total exports and countries' total imports, but basing on goods. So when in balance of payment, balance of trade here is only goods. So you compare the goods you have exported to other countries and goods you have imported to your country. So the balance is what we call balance of trade. So balance of trade can either be favorable or unfavorable, or sometimes it can be balance of trade. So when you have a scenario like this, when exports is greater than imports, this is favorable balance of trade. So this situation is good to a country. A country should encourage. When you have a balance of this nature, then your country is performing well economically. But when you have a scenario like this, when your country's imports is greater than your country's exports, now this is unfavorable balance of trade. So this situation is not good economical. So the country is not performing well in international trade. It means the country is buying more from other countries in terms of goods, and the country is selling less to other countries in terms of goods. So when we say balance of trade, as I've said before, here we consider only goods. But sometimes a situation can be exports equal to imports. Now this is a situation where you have a balance of trade. So you have the amount of goods exported is equal to the amount of goods imported. Another concept on this part is balance of payment. Balance of payment is the statement of countries' exports versus countries' imports. But here we consider payments and receipts. Under balance of payment here, you consider both goods and services. So this is the balance which shows both goods and services. The receipts you have received from selling to other countries and the payment you have paid to other countries. So if the amount of money received in the country are the result of exporting or selling to other countries compared to the amount you have paid to other countries are the result of importing or buying from other countries. So a balance of payment can either be favorable or unfavorable, but sometimes it can be balance of payment. So when you have a scenario like this, so when payments are greater than receipts, it means you have paid more to other countries than you have received in your country. So here it means you have paid as the result of importation. Now payments, these come from importation, while receipts comes from exportation. So by payment it means you bought from other countries, but receipt means you sold to other countries. So when payments are greater than receipts, the implication here is you have paid more to other countries in your goods and services. So the amount of money paid in goods and services to other countries are greater than the amount of money you received in goods and services from other countries. So you received less than what you paid to other countries. So this situation is unfavorable. So this BOP stands for balance of payment. So you have unfavorable balance of payment. Now this situation should be discouraged because it's not good to the country. But most of African countries or developing countries do face this situation because they're importing more or they're importing much than what they are selling to other countries. So in this situation, countries should find ways to remove the situation or to remove this problem. Now this is a problem for a country. This is not good economically. So countries should find ways to solve this problem of balance of payment, because you are paying more than what you receive in your country in terms of foreign currency.
You are watching Darasa Online.
So when you have a situation like this, receipts greater than our payments. Now these receipts comes from our exportation. Exportation on both goods and services. And these payments come from importation on both goods and services. So it means you have received more foreign currency than what you have paid to other countries. So this is good economically. When a country is performing in this way, this country is performing well economically. So this is a situation countries should encourage. So when you have such a balance of payment, so the country is performing well. And this one is favorable balance of payments. Favorable balance of payments. So another name for favorable balance of payment is surplus balance of payment. It is called surplus. But another name for unfavorable balance of payment is deficit balance of payment. But it may happen that a country's total payments is equal to country's total receipts. So this is balance of payment. So it may happen sometimes that countries' payments or countries' payments on importation is equal to countries' receipts from exportation. So this concept is very, very important to understand, because countries do buy and sell goods and services, and therefore a country should know at the end of the year, is the country benefiting from international trade. So this balance of payments will help a country to know if the country is performing well in international trade or the country is performing poor international trade. So this can be used as a measure to know how the country is performing in international trade.
You are watching Darasa Online.
Another term to revise in this lesson is terms of trade. In terms of trade, we compare prices of exports with prices of imports. So we make a comparison between the prices of exports of what you have exported or you have sold to other countries to the prices of imports. So in short, it's a comparison between prices of exports versus prices of imports. a formula for this is price index of exports, you divide by price index of imports, you multiply by 100. Terms of trade can be either favorable or unfavorable. So when prices of exports are greater than prices of imports, now this is favorable terms of trade. It means you are selling your goods to other countries at high price than what you're paying from other countries. So the prices you get or you receive or you're selling to other countries are greater than prices you're paying on those goods you are importing. But when you have a scenario like this, prices of imports greater than prices of exports. Now this is unfavorable terms of trade. So this situation is unfavorable. This is unfavorable, unfavorable, unfavorable terms of trade. But this one is favorable terms of trade. So this scenario is not good to the country's economy. So when a country is experiencing such a situation, this is not good economical. But in most cases, less developing countries are facing this situation. Terms of trade are unfavorable or deteriorating terms of trade. And the reason for this situation or scenario is most of developing countries or African countries are exporting raw materials. Raw materials has low value, and therefore they are getting or they are paying low price in international markets. But also the manufactured goods which are exported to other countries are of low value, and therefore they get low price in the world market. These countries are importing manufactured goods which are of high value. For example, when you import a car is very, very expensive. Or when you import a phone or a computer. So all these contribute to our terms of trade to be unfavorable or deteriorating. The goods we are importing the goods we are exporting are of low value, and the goods we are importing are of high value. And therefore you can see prices of our exports are less or are low, while prices of imports are very, very high.
You are watching Darasa Online.
Welcome back, my dear student, for this session of passing through different questions on this topic. Now, question number 1 is, current account in the balance of payments comprises both visible and invisible trade. With example, explain how invisible trade affects balance of payments. So the question here, my dear students, is asking about to explain how invisible trade affect balance of payments. But before going to dive to the question, let me remind you something here, that in balance of payments we have two main accounts. Now, in balance of payments, we have these main accounts, one being current account and the second one being capital account. Now, under current account is where we record goods and services, or visible being goods and invisible being services. While in capital account here, we record all investments. So this one is concerned with investments. So for example, when a person buys shares in a certain company abroad, this is recorded under capital account. Or when people from abroad buy shares in our companies or companies found in our country, this also will be recorded in this account. But when foreigners come and invest or start an industry in our country, this also will be recorded in this account. So these two main accounts are those main which are found in the balance of payments, being current account and capital account. So come to our question. So current account in the balance of payment comprise, as I've said, visible and invisible trade. Yes. With example, explain how invisible trade affect balance of payments. So as I have explained before that invisible trade, this is concerned with services. So the question requires you to explain how invisible or services affect balance of payments. Under this one, you need to explain on those services and how they affect balance of payments. For example, how education affects balance of payments. So I have said before, when Tanzanians are studying abroad, it means they are importing that service. So they are buying from those countries. And this is recorded as payments. But when those people from other countries come and study in our colleges or universities, they are paying. So this is regarded as exportation. So this is receipts. So from this scenario here, you can see when we go abroad, we are paying. So the balance of payment is affected in that way, that we make payment in those countries. But when they come in our country for studies, it means we receive. So this is receipts. Now come to tourism.
Na mtazamaji, asante kwa kuendelea kuitazama TBC1. Tunaomba radhi kwa kusitisha matangazo ya kipindi cha Commerce ambacho kilikuwa hewani, na hivi sasa moja kwa moja tunakupeleka eneo la Soga mkoani Pwani, ambapo Waziri Mkuu Kassim Majaliwa amefanya ziara ya kutembelea reli ya kisasa kutoka Dar es Salaam hadi Kilosa, na sasa